Fight! On, ready, go!
Using Lockheed Martin technology and co-developed with GE Aerospace, the Sega Model 2 arcade system board was launched by Sega in 1993 to replace the Sega Model 1 board. At the time, it was the most powerful arcade system since it could generate 300,000 polygons per second. In addition, Sega was the first to introduce the use of texture filtering and other graphical enhancements for its arcade games. Indeed, it would take another 5 more years before PC graphics cards could duplicate what the Sega Model 2 board accomplished in 1993. The greatest claim to fame for the Sega Model 2 board is that it successfully launched 7 arcade franchises of the 1990s, including Daytona USA, The House of the Dead, Sega Rally Championship, Virtual Cop, Virtual Striker, Dead or Alive, and Cyber Troopers Virtual On. Due to its gaming success, by the end of 1996, Sega had sold over 130,000 systems across the world. The Sega Model 2 board was eventually replaced by the Sega Model 3 arcade platform in 1996. In this tutorial, you will learn how to configure the Sega Model 2 emulator within Batocera. In addition to some gameplay, you will also learn some important tricks for the emulator. Are you ready? Let's do it! Greetings everyone and welcome to Batocera Nation. So glad that you could join us. So today our emulator focus is going to be on Sega Model 2. And if we go into the wiki page of the Batocera website, you can see there that the page itself is not that extensive. The only important information we're told here is that you got to make sure you have to have at least one game before you can configure the controls for the particular emulator. Now, if you go into the info text within the Sega Model 2 folder, you can see there it tells us you need to have the file extensions with a zip file. Okay, the entire collection set is about 32 games. There's also a README text within the same folder, the Sega Model 2. And this one gives us a little more information. It tells us that yes, you have to have a game, and you also have to be connected to the internet before it can configure the Sega Model 2 emulator. Because essentially what it's going to do is going to install some Windows DirectX libraries for Wine, as well as create a directory structure. And you need to be patient because it can take as long as 10 minutes depending upon your internet connection speed. Also gives us information about the controller configuration. You're going to need a keyboard and a mouse because some of the games do require a mouse. And furthermore, if you want to get into the system menu, you're going to have to press F1 and F2 to navigate. Okay? We're going to try all this out and I'll show you how everything is supposed to run. All right? So let's go ahead and boot up Batocera and let's get the Sega Model 2 emulator up and running. Okie dokie, so we're in Batocera. Let's go ahead and press F1 on the keyboard. And let's go into my portable drive, Sega Model 2. And I'm going to select all that. Control A, Control C. Go into this folder, my games folder. Go into Model 2, look for Model 2 right there, and then just paste everything. Shouldn't take that long. It's about 641 megabytes altogether. Alright, let's go out to File and close Window. And then press Start on your gamepad. Go into Game Settings, Update Games List, and we should have it. Let's look for it. Oh, there it is, right there. There it is. 32 games, all right? We can see that. Now, let me show you the first process as it configures everything, okay? Again, it's going to take a little while. Make sure you're connected to the internet. So I'm going to go ahead and press this one first. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fast forward all this, and I'll let you know how long it took before it was actually configured. Alright, so that took about 4 minutes altogether. Now, when you exit the game by pressing the hotkey and the start button, turns out it takes a while before it does exit altogether. You'll see a black screen. Be patient, it hasn't crashed. Just wait for it to exit altogether and you'll be good to go. So I know that, for example, this game right here, behind enemy lines, it doesn't work. I think it needs a two-player mode. Single-player mode doesn't work, even though I tried different things. Furthermore, if you press the select button, you can see there that there's no emulator settings whatsoever. If I hold down the A button, again, there's no specific emulator settings. All the emulator settings are found in the standalone applications found in File Manager. We'll look at that a little bit later on. Also, in the standalone version of the application, you'll find several, for example, several Daytona USA. So in order to determine which one is the correct file name, go ahead and press the A button, hold it on for a few seconds, and go into Edit this game's metadata. And there at the very top, right underneath Edit Metadata, in yellow, you'll see the actual file name, DaytonaA.zip. Okay? So keep that in mind when you're trying to configure your games. Let's go ahead and get out of this altogether. And let's go ahead and configure some games that we are going to play. So let's go into Applications, go into Model 2 Config. Alright, from there, go into Emulator and load up the game itself. Okay? So in this case, we're going to try out House of the Dead right there. Double click on that. Now sometimes it will crash. If it crashes, that means that you just need to go back into Batocera and load it up from there, load up any game from there, come out, and then come back over here and try it again. Alright? From here, go ahead and press Escape. That will minimize it. Go into Game, go into Configure Controls. Okay, so I'm using in my hands, I've got a Xbox One S controller. And notice these buttons don't match. And since I'm using a mouse for this particular game, then I only really need to worry about Start and Coin. So click on Start. I want the Start button, which is button number 4. The Coin button, I want it to be the Select button. And that registers as button number 1. Okay. From here, go ahead and close it out. Go ahead and exit. And go back in there and configure the rest of the games that way. Unfortunately, it's a long and tedious process, but there's no way around that. Let's go to Zero Gunner. Right there. Escape. Game. Configure controls. Alright, so this one I do have to change buttons 1, 2, 3, and 4. Button number 1, I want that to be button A. Button number 2, I want that to be button B. Button 3, I want that to be button X. Button 4, I want that to be button Y. And again, Start, I want that to be the Start button. Coin, the Select button. And these right here, up, down, left, right, this will work the way it is. Or if you want to use the gamepad, then change this into the gamepad. Select it, and you can press the gamepad up, and so forth and so on. All right, close that one out. Go ahead and exit. Do it again. Unfortunately, if you do unload ROM, it's not going to work in terms of just staying within the emulator itself. So you gotta just exit and do it again. Alright, let's go into Daytona USA. Right there. Press Escape. And go into Game, Configure Controls. Alright, so here, first things first, Start Coin, that's correct. I already configured this one, I was playing around with this one earlier. So Axis 0, that's your left analog stick, okay? Axis 1 is also your left analog stick. Axis 2, that's going to be your right analog stick. So for Accelerate, you might want to choose the right analog stick, or you can use the left analog stick. If you use the left analog stick, you gotta choose axis 1. I kind of like it like that. So I select those two buttons right there and close it out. Close that out. And let's go into, all right, let's go into emulator again. And let's go into the last Bronx. Now if you lose it right there, like I just did right now, hit Alt Tab, and that will bring it up. See that? Right there. Alright, this one also going to change the buttons right here. A, B, X, Y. Close it. All right, let's go ahead and try them out. If I need to stop in terms of getting into the service menu, I'll let you know. Now then, you notice that the bullets and the aiming mark are off. So in order to fix that, you're going to have to press F2, and that will bring you up to the service menu. And from there, you have to use the F1 key, and that will bring you up and down to the menu. By the way, let's go here, check things out here. You can see there, I can go into difficulties. I press F2, I can choose different things I want to. I then can go into blood color as well. Let's go back to blood color. I can pick red. Exit there. Let's go into the gun setting. F2. Go into gun mark check. Again, you can see there it's way off. Alright, so to fix that, let's go ahead and press F2 to exit that. And go into player 1 gun adjustment. Press F1 and then press F2. And then from there, use that to align everything just right. Right there. With your mouse, of course. And right there. Now it should be fine. You can see there, it's perfect now. Right? So F2 to memorize that, F1 to cancel. So we want to memorize that. And going back to gun mark check. Yeah, it's there. It's perfect. Okay, exit. And go ahead and select F1 and then F2 to exit, and then go back to exit again, F2. Try it out again.
Others are still inside. Save them. Sophie?
Now then, if you try to exit the game like you normally would using the hotkey and the start button, it's not going to save the gun setting. and perhaps none in the other settings as well. Okay, so if you want to save your setting, including the gun setting, you're going to have to do this little trick I discovered. So go ahead and exit this like you normally would, right there, with the F2 button. And from there, press the escape button. And from there, on the empty spot, any empty spot, just click on it. And then hit Alt-E. And from there, just hit exit. Okay? Hit enter, and that will exit the game. And then it will save all your settings, okay? Including the gun setting. And then the next time, you can exit the game like you normally would, using the hotkey and the start button.
Gentlemen, start your engine. And they're underway.
Alright, if you go into F2, once again, you can select different options here. You can go into Game System, select it by clicking on F2. You can change stuff here. Okay, difficulty, you can change that. Easy, normal, hard, hardest. Okay, exit, F2, and then exit here, F2 again. So that should give you a brief demonstration what Sega Model 2 is all about. I have not tested all the games, but the ones I did test, all of them seem to work with the exception of Behind Enemy Lines. And I believe, again, because it needs a 2-player mode. By the way, once you use the built-in scraper from Batocera, this is how everything looks like. I was able to scrape all the games without any trouble. I found boxes for all the games, and it did miss the video for about 8 of them or so. And I scraped from Screen Scraper. Okay, so it looks pretty good. All right, so that is a wrap for today. If you like this video, please go ahead and like it. That would really help me out with the YouTube algorithms. If this is the first time watching Batocera Nation, I highly encourage you to check out our website at batoceranation.com, and that will give you a great overview of what Batocera is all about and whether Batocera is something you might use for your emulation needs. And then come back, if you like what you see, come back and subscribe. We really would appreciate that. I think that for my next tutorial, I'm going to work on how to update Nintendo Switch to some of the latest versions that are out there, okay? So that hopefully will be my next tutorial. All right, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate your time, and I'll see you next time on Batocera Nation. Bye.